Let me bring into our conversation Jon Ralston. We started talking about Pennsylvania because, as I said, there's some indication and some expectation that there might be some counted votes, a better sense of that vote count that Steve Kornacki's talking about, the mail-in ballots and the absentee ballots, which have the potential to close the gap between Joe Biden and Donald Trump in that state. But equally of interest and I think anxiety-inducing is the great state of Nevada. What is going on there?
Well, thanks for equating us with Pennsylvania. Our little state will be happy. Listen, there still are a lot of ballots out in Nevada, and there's been some conflicting reports, which I've just managed to clarify. I think there are a little under 200,000 ballots left in the state, but most of them, almost all of them, maybe as many as 175,000 are from Clark County, which is the Democratic stronghold here in Nevada, and where Joe Biden has done very well. Those mail ballots up until the election day, Nicole, went more than 2-to-1 for the Democrats. So it's almost impossible to see any way for Trump to make up even the relatively small deficit of 11,400 votes in Clark County with those mail ballots. There was a batch of them released this morning, about 14,000, and Biden won those 2-to-1. There's no reason to believe that trend is going to change that much with the other 150, 160,000, whatever's left.
I understand that there are some top political figures from Trump world who are in your time zone, in your state. What would they be doing? I mean, is there any, because it seems so cut and dry in terms of ballots that have been cast, where those ballots are. Do you think they're just wanting to have their presence serve as an intimidation factor, or what could you do in Nevada at this point on the ground?
I think you hit on half of it there, Nicole. Intimidation is part of it, but much more important, what they're trying to do, and this is the really insidious thing they are trying to do and have been for weeks, is to try to undermine the process, to try to sow distrust in the system. There was a remarkable press conference this morning in Las Vegas, and Jacob Soboroff was there, and he really got a sense of it, with Adam Laxalt, the former attorney general who was the co-chairman of the Trump campaign here, and Rick Grinnell and Matt Schlapp from the American Conservative Union. Rick Grinnell, the former Trump cabinet official now on their campaign. They made all kinds of claims about potential voter fraud, said they're filing a federal lawsuit. And Nicole, this was the key part of it. They refused to present any evidence and refused to take any questions. And so that's, as we poker players like to say, is the tell. If they're not going to present evidence or take questions, this is designed for public relations, designed to try to cast doubt on the election results, because they know what I just told you earlier, Nicole, that the election is going against them here in Clark County, and that Biden is likely to widen his lead by tomorrow morning.
Well, I'll add to the mosaic. I know both men well, neither known for their legal acumen, both known as political bulldogs, both having made the full leap into sort of Trump's version of reality, which has nothing to do with any sort of normal Republican reality anymore. So their presence in your state is in and of itself a statement. And I appreciate my colleague Jacob's reporting on their activities, and I know you're going to be covering it as well. If you need to jump and do some reporting, I do not want to keep you, but I'd love to keep you around while I bring in some other folks, because I think these questions about what the Trump campaign is doing, the fact that no one can really answer it in a reasonable way, that other than intimidate, other than try to delegitimize the result, seems to be a national strategy. So, Jon, if you can stay with us, I'd love to keep you around for a few more minutes.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me, or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.